Welcome to No Mud, No Lotus, where we talk about the down and dirty of recovery that often gets stuffed away. I am Alison Drougel, and I'm from Muddy Lotus Recovery, and we want to bring shame into the light and share our experiences and begin the healing process together rather than sit hurting alone. Welcome to No Mud, No Lotus. Once again, I'm Alison Drougel from No Mud, No Lotus and Muddy Lotus Recovery. And this week we are talking about what we gain when we move. We're in the year of you at Muddy Lotus Recovery, and people make New Year's resolutions. And a lot of times by the end of January, those New Year's resolutions, they're out the door. But instead, we decided this year that we're going to make positive resolutions or say positive things about ourselves 365 days a year. So I've been trying my best to document that through videos, through my blogs, through my vlogs, and through my columns. But also, we know that sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. We also know that a lot of times people have fitness goals, and fitness goals sometimes are done for the right reasons. Lots of positive things to moving and exercise, but sometimes people get focused on losing weight or the scale, things that they shouldn't be focused on when there's a lot of positive to movement. And so we decided to explore that through some professionals in town. And so today we're going to start our part one of a four-part series, What We Gain When We Move. And so we have a good friend of mine, Carley Stranyak of Monroe, is here today from Club Cardio, which is amazing. And she's going to join us and we're going to talk about what Club Cardio is all about, but also what we gain when we move. Welcome to the stream, Carley.
Hi, thanks for having.
Hi. All right, Carley, you're a full-time educator. You're a mother of a brand new boy. I mean, I guess he's not brand new anymore, but he's pretty young. And you're a small business owner. So I would think that in all of that, there's a lot of stress that goes into all of that. And you still find time to do dance fitness. You have been doing that for the past 6 years. And Club Cardio is doing better than ever. So how do you do it all?
Um, I just think that it's important to have balance. I always say you have to keep your cup full in order to serve others. And dance fitness is what keeps my cup full. It keeps me happy. So I enjoy doing it a lot.
That's amazing. And I've been noticing with the new year there that it's been a little more crowded than usual.
I love it.
Always. Yeah, I do too. It brings a lot of positive energy to the room. But I'm going to assume that that's because also people will begin to think of their lives and New Year's resolutions of what they want to change or do for the new year. So, what is your take on New Year's resolutions?
I actually love New Year's resolutions. I love goal setting. I think that it's a good time where everybody can, everybody's doing it. So if you're like unsure about goal setting, there's probably somebody that can help you out. So I'm all about New Year's resolutions. But I know that there's a lot of negativity towards them because, as you mentioned, people make the resolutions and then they fizzle out. So, along with New Year's resolutions, I do think it's important to set reasonable goals that you can see throughout the year.
That's really interesting you brought that up. Last time on our show, we had Evie Murphy and Jalen Struth. They were part of our staff, and we were talking about SMART goals. And so I'm just going to remind our audience of what that is: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound goals. And I think a lot of times that's not what people usually go for, or they do, but they set that goal. I think they miss the attainable part. So
Yeah.
they make it so far out there, and it becomes overwhelming. So that I would assume that if for exercise especially, that would take the joy out of it. So how does Club Cardio, I already know, but can you tell everybody else, how does Club Cardio bring joy into dance and movement?
So club cardio is a dance fitness format that I created. I taught a different dance fitness format previously, and then in the pandemic, I created my own. And I think that club cardio, I have to admit, when I originally started dance fitness, it was for those cliche reasons, I think, which aren't necessarily bad things, but things like losing weight and, looking a certain way. But it has evolved over time. And so club cardio has become a place where I want to empower people to feel confident moving their body, to feel comfortable moving their body, because I know that can be a very vulnerable experience for a lot of people. And honestly, if you just leave my class feeling happy and ready to take on the rest of your day, like that's a win. That's a gold star for me.
Yeah. Can you share with everybody what like a typical experience of club cardio would be? Because I would assume I know I have done a lot of aerobics and a lot of fitness. I mean, I do used to do triathlons, things like that, but this was a whole new experience that I was coming into. So someone's going to come into the studio, and depending on the day, they may have lights off and disco balls going. And that's so fun. But can you explain a little bit more about what they should expect?
For sure. So we do put the club in club cardio. Not always, but oftentimes on our special days we have our club lights on, so it legit feels like a club. Like going the music super loud. We listen to all different types of music, but I really say our main genres of music are like pop, hip hop, rap. I always say like the ratchets. That's what we're here for. And if you're new, I am going to do my best to greet you when you come in. Some people sneak in on me, but for the most part, if I know you're coming, I'm looking for you to walk through the door because I want to let you know that like you're gonna do great. And in the beginning of a class, we always try to greet our new people. Um, and we go over our rules. We have 3 rules: have fun, no judging, keep moving. And then I always say we just kind of like blast through the playlist and have a good time. Like, we don't go over every step of every song. I just say like if you're moving, it's working, and that's important to me because I don't want you to feel like you have to have every move right in order for you to have a good experience at my class. Honestly, I don't care what you're doing. I do truly don't care as long as you're dancing safely. I just want you to. So I think that is really important. And that's part of the reason we just kind of just go because we're just there to have a good time. We kind of not stress about the details, just have fun.
Yeah. And that is exactly what it feels like. I love that you brought up the have fun, no judging, keep moving. And you start with your like, don't judge each other, don't judge me. That's you meaning. And don't judge yourself, because I think that judging yourself is probably the number one thing that everybody does. You
Mhm.
come into a place and you feel self-conscious, and to let that go is a really vulnerable thing. So what do you think about club cardio? Maybe the people, maybe it's what you bring to it, maybe it's just the music itself. What do you think makes that space feel safe for people?
I think that it has, like, I don't think I consciously made the club cardio environment what it is. Like, it's almost like my like mission or my vibe maybe attracted the right people, and then the right people just added in more awesome people, and then it created this space that I can honestly say I didn't anticipate. It wasn't like this is what I envisioned club cardio to be like. It just like on or authentically just kind of like happened. So yeah, it's just the squad, the club cardio squad we call it, is just an amazing group of men, women, younger, older, that just truly want the best for other people. Um, and it's hard to put into words, but if you'll come, you'll feel it. And I know that might sound stupid, but like it's true. Like
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to be nervous going into a gym or a new setting. Like it's kind of weird that I'm a dance fitness instructor because I'm not super. I don't. I'm kind of shy, like out in new environments, but so the new people that come, I want them to feel like safe and comfortable and know that like I'm totally cheering them on.
Mhm. You know what, actually, I think, and this will happen a lot of times. Muddy Lotus does a lot with recovery like that, and there has to be that vulnerability and safety. You have to let your guard down to let people in. One thing that I notice in your space is that you're real, and you openly, like, you don't seem to be on another plane as anybody else. Like, you're right there with us, doing and making the mistakes and doing. I'm
Yeah,
not calling out your mistakes, don't get me wrong,
no,
but I'm
there's like
saying but you're right there as a real person. One thing, like I mentioned, Beckham, your son, is like, we were there with you on your journey when you had him.
yeah.
And when someone is having a birthday or some kind of joyous event, they have a day where their playlist is being played. But
Mhm.
also, on that same note, if somebody has something that they're struggling with, then I feel like there's people that know there, or that we may all take a moment to help them through that as well. I know
Mhm.
personally that I have things where I know there's a group of people there that would know about it, or I'd be able to message. And so it is more than a fitness class. It is a squad, and that
Yeah.
there is no other way to really explain it. And I think that community is an important part, is what we gain when you have in other types of recovery things as well. And so it's nice to see it in some sort of way that cardiovascularly is also good for you, as well, because sometimes, fitness classes can be this pressured, like, do I fit in, that kind
Mhm.
of a thing situation. So let's talk about a little bit about the space, because that space is, I have some attachments to that space too. But you're at 105 East Front. I'm gonna put it on the ticker here, 105 East Front. So people know where they're going, and it's up those three flights of stairs. So you're gonna get those stairs in.
That's hard. Hard. We
That's
go.
right. It's part of it. But so yeah, I used to have a theater studio up there. I know that DeVoe Riggs used to have her spotlight studio up there, just so people kind of like know where it is. And it's across from the old Mineral Bank and Trust building. So you tell us a little bit about how you came about that space, and who else is up there with you, and kind of what the vibe is up there.
Yes. So that also just came to be recently. DeVoe decided to chase her dreams and live her best life. And so she was closing the chapter on the studio where we had been doing classes through her theater studio. We had been there since I started teaching dance fitness 6 years ago. I had been in that space, but it was Spotlight Studio before. And so when let me know that she was closing the studio, I thought, oh my gosh, like this is home. Like this is home base. Like we've danced in a lot of places. And with COVID, we've danced outside, we've danced online, like we've been everywhere. But like Spotlight Studio had like a special, I don't know, a special vibe and it was a special spot for us. So fortunately, I was able to team up with my friend Stephanie, who I met through Club Cardio. She's part of the squad, and we were able to rent out the third floor space together. So we are both up there, and although we are different beings, and kind of have different goals, I think that when it comes down to it, we are all about like being the best version of yourself, mind, body, soul. Like we want people to live uh the human experience, I guess you could say, as like the happiest version of themselves. So I think me and Steph do things differently, but we do things similar also to get where we're hoping that you can be in that space.
Yeah, it's really good that you brought up like the mind, body, and soul, because that's really, I think, goodness, becoming a big part, becoming a little more mainstream, where it's not just the body. where there was a big push for a while for that, and then it's not just one or the other, it's mind, body, and soul. Wellness is the whole package. And I think the pandemic may have pushed that a little bit to the front, which, okay, we got something good out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And with, that's when I came to club cardio, and that's when I think you were saying that club cardio really really came to be its own entity. Is that true?
Yes. With, everything transitioning to online, and it made sense at that point to branch off on my own and
Mhm.
my own thing. So,
Gotcha. And people can still access it online, is that correct? They can get, like, on-demand versions of it or do a live stream?
so we have a couple of different ways. Like Club Cardio has a YouTube channel, which we are working on uploading more on there. But there's even hour-long classes on there, but there's just single videos as well. And so that's just Club Cardio with Carly. But if you want to take a class with us live, you can do that through our website. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's lots
Okay.
going on.
Awesome. Okay. Well, and then the other thing I just wanted to ask you, some more questions and find out more about how you came to your fitness journey and things of that nature. But I'm going to take a little break for just a second and get in some announcements so that I don't forget to do them, but also to give our listeners just a break. And so I'm going to take you out of the stream, but I promise I will bring you right back. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back with Carly in just a moment. Okay, so some things that we wanted to remind you of. Last week we talked a little bit about Cedars and Nutrition's Counseling Center. That's in Bloomfield Hills, and so I've got their website coming up here. Patrizia Yezu was on our show a couple of times ago around Thanksgiving, and she talked about meal groups that they offer there for people with eating disorders, and they have a 7-week intuitive eating workshop starting mid February. And I can't say enough about their meal groups and their intuitive eating programs. They have an IOP, which is an intensive outpatient program, as well. So there's not many resources that are intensive for eating disorders in Michigan, and this is one of the best. And Patrizia is registered dietitian, and her whole staff, and there are many people that work out of that office that are working to break the stigma and to offer the resources that are so needed. So if you're interested, please visit nutritioncounselingcenter.com for that 7-week intuitive eating workshop, and or there are the other meal groups that they offer as well. So take that out of there. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to bring up was I have to get to the right thing. We have a January, here it is. I'm gonna have to go this way. Yeah. I have to get it on the right thing. January 28th at Raw, which is Recovery Alliance Warriors. It's across from Waterloo School. I think I'm gonna do for one of my video commercials, go show where it's at. It's in the little strip mall across from Waterloo School and Westwood Dental on M50. So we're doing a workshop, and it's kind of to beat the winter blues, and it's for anybody, not just survivors or people in recovery. It's for anybody. It will be on January 28th. That's a Saturday from 1 to 4. And we're making self-soothing boxes. So, which I feel like lately with all the gray weather I've been needing. And it includes like everything for your five senses. So that's kind of what we're getting to. So we're gonna use that tool of using your five senses to become grounded, and as a self-soothing tool and emotional regulation tool. So we're gonna have mocktails and chocolates for taste, and then we're gonna do crafts, but the crafts are going to be things that you can actually use as a tool later on. So we're going to make Chinese meditation balls, which you roll in your hands. I'm doing this motion because I don't have the balls, but let me hide this. And then we're going to do it's like a body butter, like a massage oil candle. You'll end up with a small and it's very small, massage oil candle that will have scents to it, and you'll get to pick your scents, and we'll have a lot of them to kind of explore. And then we will be doing some things with touch, like sensory cards, to bring you present, and all of it will be in a box you make. When you see my box is like tripped out. Like, it looks like it should be in Vegas. My box. Okay, so this is my box. This is not what your box is gonna look like. I get made fun of for my box, so I'm gonna put my box down. But so you too can make your own box that doesn't have to look like it should be a Vegas showgirl. And that is on January 28th. And I have those boxes ready, and I was playing with making the massage candles and body butter stuff, and I'm excited. So we just need people to come. So please contact us if you have any questions. And I'm going to bring Carley back into the stream so that we can talk a little bit more about her journey to fitness and well being. Welcome back, Carley.
I'm back.
Back. It was that easy. I just clicked a button and you were back. All right. So I guess I just wanted to get into a little bit more about like your journey to fitness personally. So what drew you to, I mean, I know you're a teacher, correct?
Yep.
And what do you teach?
Okay, so I taught Spanish for 5 to 7 years, something like that.
Okay.
I taught at the I taught it all, K through 12, and then I taught college. But now I do still work in a high school building, but I'm more of like a mentor counselor instead of like a classroom teacher.
Okay, I can definitely see that. It would be awesome at that. Okay. So, what then, how does, and I can really see it. How does that fit with your work at Club Cardio?
I think that that's what makes me comfortable on stage, because like honestly, like how, like when I previously mentioned, like I'm generally kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I'm a little bit more like shyer, kind of just like laid back, whatever. But if you see me at the studio at Club Cardio, you'd probably would be like, what? That's not true. But I think like when you're a teacher, you have to really like make your content exciting, because you need 30 kids who probably only one and a half of them care, like are super excited about being able today, like, and you have to get them to be like, hey, this is really cool. Listen up, you guys. And I think like it's similar Club Cardio, because you have people coming in and they're a little bit unsure, and you need to make them feel comfortable. Like, hey, we're here. We're going to have a good time. Just trust me. And then that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head with another part of what makes people feel comfortable when they're there. It's not you make the experience like it's a big fun exploration, not this perfection thing that we're all going to try to get. So I think what do you say when if you're moving it's working. Like,
Yeah,
and that's all that matters. And it's like you're on that level with us of like, oh, and then sometimes you won't remember what it is, and like the back row remembers, and like they're all
thank
doing it, and
you.
it's yeah, you're like, thank you so much. And I think that in schools, I'm a teacher as well, that's part of the journey. You're on that journey with them, and I think that that really makes a good teacher. I know my teachers that I have really loved in my experience have been teachers that were on the journey with me. And I think in recovery it's really the same thing, that you want somebody. I know that's why I got into peer coaching instead of some of the other fields that had to do with recovery. When you're a survivor, you want to give back, and you try to figure out how to do that. And I really feel like the best way to be able to do that is to be able to share your story too, and to be on a journey with people. Because nobody is perfect, and we all are on a journey, whether you're in recovery or not. I think we're just all on that. So have you had any experience with with any of the, and it can be seasonal depression, postpartum depression, anxiety, like anything with recovery where dance or movement helped you in some way.
Yeah. So I want to comment on the fact that you mentioned that my classes aren't about perfection, and I love that because I am definitely a recovering perfectionist. And that's something I've struggled with a lot. And just in the few, maybe the past like 4-ish years, some things came to a head, and I realized, hey, like I'm not perfect. I can't be perfect. Like it's impossible, and it's exhausting trying to constantly battle to the mountain of perfection that you're never going to reach the top.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, because I do think that they're linked, I am a very like anxiety, very anxious person. I not diagnosed by a doctor, but it runs in my family. Um, and when I had my son, I feel like postpartum just took my anxiety and like exploded it all over again. And I feel like a lot of the tools that worked for so long, like dancing and stretching, it was like I was doing them and my brain was like, nope, you're still going to be sad. You're going to be anxious. And I'm just like, no, I know this works. So I just kept doing it. I just kept trying the things that I know were going to see me through to the other side. Even though if maybe at that moment they weren't giving me the instant gratification, like a lot of times exercise does. Like, you get that immediate kind of dopamine boost and you feel good. And when I was in the midst of that postpartum depression, anxiety, um, the well, first I had a cesarean, so I wasn't able to move for a little bit, and what did I think really like was extra difficult for me. So when I started to be able to move a little bit, then it was like you had the hormone drop. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and so I remember I would, try. I started with small stuff like stretching and like baby movements, and um, it was like it would help, and then I'd be sad, and then it would help, and I'd be sad. But I was like, just kept going little by little because I know that those things um, do overall help me feel better. And sure enough, by the time I was able to move more and be more mobile and kind of get a little bit more of a grasp of motherhood, like those keeping those habits is what I think helped like propel me to the other side, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? If I would
Yeah.
have just given, I think I would have been stuck in that sad spot for much longer. But I was like, no, I know this works. Like just keep moving, however small, step by step, one foot in front of the other. Like you'll make it to the other side of this kind of like sad or overwhelming stage in life, because there's always the other side. You just
Hmm.
some muddy to get to it.
Yeah, that
Muddy.
makes a lot
Yeah,
of
no.
sense. Yeah, well, and I think that you're getting back to what we've talked about on a couple of the episodes so far in different ways. Um, I don't know if I'm put it correctly by saying like fake it till you make it, but that's been this debate that we've had because it's fake it till you make it versus be real, not perfect. There's the two sides of that, and I think both are true.
Yeah.
But I think that in this case and what you're talking about, and that's been the same for my experience, that when you get to that kind of despair, where you get to that kind of a place, um, that it's important to be out, like, you're not going to be comfortable doing that. You're not going to be, it's not going to be what you feel like doing. It's not going to be the instinct. It's going to be like the DBT skill, the dialectical behavioral therapy skill of do the opposite, where you're just gonna one foot in front of the other and like go through the motion, and it might take however long it's gonna take, like you were saying, but then you're a little less and a little less and a little less, and somehow you're over here all of a sudden, and you're
Yeah.
like, when did that happen?
Hmm.
So that's been my experience as well, and it isn't being fake, it's being it's I don't know, almost responsible is the word that comes to mind, but that sounds stuffy. That's not what I mean. But it's taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
I mean, the idea of movement as medicine, it's not something that somebody invented. I mean, it's science. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it does work. Just but you may have to, just like with anything, you may have to um try it a few times. Because also another part of that, because I think with movement, and I think this is why club cardio is special, because you have the movement, but then you have the community. And I was very anxious to get back to club cardio because I knew I couldn't do what I was doing before when I left to have my baby. Like, I was not super mobile, but I wanted to be back around those people because they're such good energy. And I was back and forth with myself, like, should I go? Should I not go? And I was like, no, like, I gotta practice what I preach. Like, I if it was something else, I would um if it was somebody else, I would want them to come and I would want them to feel good. So um yeah, so I came and I wasn't moving very much, but I was moving a little, and if it's moving, it's working. So
Yeah, 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 that's a good point that you can go and do what you can do at that point and listen to your body and still get out of it something for sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, with that being said, we can kind of start to wrap up, but I want to just see if there's anything that you have to say to someone who is sitting there listening to this who may be really wanting to try this, but they're reluctant, they're shy. I know you said you have that in you. I know I have parts of that in me, maybe we all do. That why, what is something that you could say to them that would be like, a reason they can come do this, or like get over that and come do it.
well, the big reasons your first time's free, so why not?
There you go.
But also, it's like, just try it. Like, you have to. If I let my anxiety hold me back, if I didn't show up anxious, there's so much cool stuff I would have missed out on. Like, I have showed up to things literally not to my stomach, shaking, sweating because I was so anxious, but I would have missed out on so many opportunities. One is I probably would have never been a dance fitness instructor and been able to see all the beauty that has come from that. So I think it's important to, show up anyways. If it's something you want to do, give it a try. And if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. But everybody should find something that brings them joy, and that includes something where you can move your body. So even if I hope it's club cardio, but if it's not dance fitness, maybe it's tennis, maybe it's riding a bike, maybe it's just going on walks. All that is going to make you a healthier and happier version of yourself, which is the ultimate goal, I think, and what I would want for anybody.
That's awesome. I'm just gonna end with we're doing the 365 days of you challenge. So I'm really putting you in the spot because I did not put this in the notes. So what is for today? Would you say is something that about yourself that either brings you happiness, or that you could say today is like your word of joy, or about yourself that is good?
About myself.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh,
I think one thing about myself, I think that I appreciate um that I'm determined.
yes.
I think it's just I appreciate that I don't give up on myself, and that I don't give up. I give myself the benefit of the doubt. Because I know it's not always easy, so it's really cool to see what comes from believing in yourself.
I really like how you worded that. I'm gonna share that like on our socials or something. I appreciate that. I really like that. The way that you worded that, because it's really hard for people to say I am this or I am that. And it doesn't. It makes me get tense too, because it's like our society thinks that we're being selfish or we're bragging if we say something nice about ourselves. And I would definitely say that you're determined. I'd say that you're a lot of joy for a lot of people, and what you bring in club cardio, um, even speaking just for myself, is important. And that you, when you show up, even when you don't feel like showing up, that you touch a lot of people's lives and show them that you can do it even when you don't feel like doing it. And that is, a mentor for a lot of people, and not just kids at school, a lot of adults in the
Well,
community.
yeah,
So yeah,
thanks.
I really appreciate you being here. You're hopefully going to reach a lot of people. We'll spread this
Thank you.
out as far as we can.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so hopefully we'll have you back on for another topic at some point. But thank you for joining us for what we gain when we move, and hopefully everybody will come and check out a class for free.
yes. Bye.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. All right. We'll take you off the stream. Whoops. All right. And that's all the time we have for No Mud, No Lotus. Join us for What We Gain When We Move for part 2. We'll hopefully be joining Melissa Whited from Mindful Movement, and explore some yoga. And that is all we have for today. So, everybody have a wonderful day and weekend, Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, long weekend, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.